Welcome to Creature Guide Live. My name is Ethan. For those of you that don't know, we're going to get into some animal news from around the world, and I will take any questions. So, throw up the first set of articles. Okay, so from phys.org, tiger sharks gather to mate during Maui's whale season, finds research finds. So, Maui, it's most likely referring to the coast just off of Hawaii. And every October, you have scores of humpback whales come over to breed. So here we're going to get into tiger sharks. Tiger sharks can reach a little over 16 feet in length. They're pushing 5 meters. And the females, which are larger than the males, can reach over 3,000 pounds or a little over 1,400 kilograms. So wait, yeah, somewhere around there. So, a team of shark researchers from the University of Hawaii at Manoa has solved a long standing mystery, identifying the first ever documented mating hub for tiger sharks. Oh, interesting. So, it sounds relatively new what's been found here. The new study, led by the Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology Shark Lab, utilized 6 years of acoustic tracking data to pinpoint Alowulu Mau and the nature of tiger shark mating. This challenges the conventional understanding of tiger sharks as purely solitary animals, revealing a predictable seasonal convergence of mature males and females that coincides with the humpback whale calving season in Hawaii. For years, it was, oh, right. Okay. Wow. So this is also occurring at around the same time as the humpback whale, um, I guess, breeding season, or not breeding season, the calving season, which is quite interesting. I was expecting it to maybe be another time of year. For years, it was unclear how tiger sharks, which are typically solitary wanderers, came together to reproduce, or if mating was simply a result of random encounters. Tiger sharks typically roam widely in what can seem like random patterns, so finding such a strong and consistent seasonal trend in their movements around Maui was unexpected. Yeah, many tend to not view sharks as migratory animals. Many just tend to assume that they stay within a certain area. Maybe they migrate a few miles, but that's about it. Now, there might be the instance or the situation for different species of sand sharks, but you can have it where different great white individuals, tiger sharks, hammerheads, they can actually travel for over hundreds of miles in many instances when it comes to different migrations that they take. So, like the different species of whales or dolphins that make different migratory routes, or different species of birds or even mammals on land, even these different species of fish migrate. So, let's see. Tiger sharks typically roam widely in what can seem like random patterns. So, did I already do this? I think I already said that. The long term tracking data revealed a strong, predictable seasonal presence and high overlap of both mature male and female sharks at Olowalu, with both sexes exhibiting physical signs of mating activity. To our knowledge, no group mating site for tiger sharks has been identified. This paper adds an important piece to the puzzle of tiger shark reproduction. That is shocking. I really thought that they would have already have had some sort of mating site mapped out for them. So it's quite odd. The timing of the shark's convergence also aligns with the arrival of humpback whale mothers and newborn calves in the area. This unique ecological overlap indicates that the sharks may be positioning themselves to take advantage of foraging opportunities, such as vulnerable calves or placental falls. Jeesh. So, when it comes to the placenta coming out, which I guess it makes sense, of the whale mothers, the sharks take advantage of that, and as well newborn calves. So, that is quite astounding. Mating and foraging on humpback whales may not be mutually exclusive, and both could influence tiger shark movement patterns in Hawaii.
Why'd that make me hungry?
Um, Probably whale blubber given to Les Stroud. Let's see. Um, and both could influence tiger shark movements in Hawaii movement patterns. The researchers noted that these gatherings are not dense, but rather diffuse, spanning multiple months and several kilometers. Um, that's interesting. So it's not like they're not creating these sorts of gatherings in one or two specific places in their migration routes, but they're actually consistently coming against each other just specifically referring to, at least I believe, the sharks consistently. So that is very fascinating. Many instances when it comes to a lot of animals, there's only 1 or 2 times in these giant migratory laps where they come into massive contact with each other, and these sharks tends to be seems to be quite frequent. So, that was very interesting. Let's head over to the next article, see where it takes us. From abcnews.go.com, wildlife crews stop actively searching for young wolves after livestock attacks. Wildlife crews have stopped actively searching for 2 juvenile gray wolves in northern California's Sierra Valley. Well, that's a huge area within Northern California. So let's see where this is more specifically taking place and what's happened. And I'm a bit shocked. I would think that there would be plentiful deer supply for the wolves. Maybe not as much as when it comes to elk, because there's not a very large population of elk within California. Within all of California, at least of the tule elk subspecies. There's a couple of other different subspecies in Northern California when it comes to elk, especially Rocky Mountain elk, and another subspecies is just not hitting me. But around 11,000 tule elk. But yeah, the mule. Oh, that might make sense considering it wasn't the herbivores that were overabundant in California. It was actually the carnivores themselves, like cougars, especially coyotes. But wolves have only recently, in the past couple of decades, come back to California. Wildlife crews are no longer actively searching for 2 juvenile gray wolves who were part of a pack that killed dozens of cows and calves last summer in Northern California's Sierra Valley. Whoa, whoa. Okay, that's a problem. I wonder if that shows um, how scarce the mule deer are, especially within California. I'm not sure about the whitetail populations within the state, but definitely the mule deer, they've been having a problem. This is that might explain it. Why would you go after something 3 times the size of the prey that you naturally hunt? So, or well, in this case, more 4 or 5 times, but it seems to be they're going after calves, but saying cows too. The 2 wolves were members of the Bayam Sao pack that in 2025 killed or injured at least 92 calves and cows in a 7-month period, according
Were they paying members?
Yeah. Wow. So these were mercenaries. This is insane. Sheesh. Let's see. Report released last week by 2 researchers with the University of California, Davis. That is insane. I've heard about problems over in Washington State, Wyoming, Montana, obviously different parts of Canada and Alaska, not including other countries. But this is astounding. Okay. I'm just going to skip the stuff with the federal government over here because it just kind of adds a bit of a dull atmosphere to the article. All right, let's get to it. In October, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife announced it had euthanized 4 gray wolves, 3 adults, and a juvenile. Ouch! From the Bayam Sao pack after an unprecedented level of livestock attacks across the Sierra Valley by a single wolf pack since the canids returned to the state. It also said it planned to capture and relocate the remaining 2 wolves to wildlife facilities to prevent their behavior from spreading to other wolves in California. Wolves got used to preying on cattle. Gray wolves primarily prey on wild animals like deer and elk, not livestock, but the pack became used to killing cows and calves. This it, they will notoriously hunt livestock if their main source of food, especially when it comes to things or animals like deer, are scarcely available. So, like what we're seeing in certain European countries, I'm not sure about different parts of Asia. I haven't taken as big of a look on that. Um, but definitely what we're seeing in certain states as well, at least like with here in California. Uh, this isn't surprising, but yeah, it is a big problem. 92 calves, that's insane. I think there were also a few other cows taken out. These wolves had become habituated to preying on cattle, a feeding pattern that persisted and was being taught to their offspring, which would lead to form their own packs and could teach them the same cattle preying behavior. That actually doesn't. I tend to forget about this when it comes to these packs that are specifically homing in on cattle. They're teaching their cubs this, and so their pups are going to teach this to their own pups. It's quite interesting. Actually, a state that's been having problem is ever since wolves have come back to Colorado, and you're not allowed, at least at the moment, to kill the wolf when it comes to them preying on your livestock, your pets. I'm not even sure your own family members. So yeah, this is a big problem. People should have the right to defend themselves, their livestock, anything. Um, but following weeks of searching for the remaining two wolves, officials have reduced efforts to capture them. Katie Talbot, California Department of Fish and Wildlife Deputy Director of Public Affairs. Despite best efforts from CDFW's expert wolf biologists and law enforcement officers, we have not been able to find or get close enough to these young wolves to safely capture them. We remain hopeful our continued remote monitoring will allow for sightings that will lead to safe capture of these juveniles. Talbot said that CDFW crews will be working this week on capturing wolves and collaring them throughout the state, including in the Sierra Valley. I This does make sense, at least when tracking back to what the government was doing after they euthanized those specific wolves. I mean, if that was truly that's those specific individuals taking out those cows, yeah, that's a good thing. Honestly, it should have been up to the landowners, but um okay, well here, I mean, they're radio collaring them. Uh I just don't know what to say about that. I mean, at least on one instance it is good to see what they're doing. And the other instance is, are these specific individuals also causing a problem? Though I don't know what specific packs that they're referring to, considering there are a few of them within Northern California. Um, Many tend to believe, at least that know about the presence of wolves coming back to California, that there's only, one or two packs. Truth is, there's many more. So, effort to deter the wolves failed. Well, obviously, I think the best effort would be at least shooting them off the land. Let's see. Wildlife officials tried for months to prevent the pack from attacking farm animals by using drones, non-lethal bean bags, installing flags or rope to deter them, and having officers in the field 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But their efforts failed. I'm surprised that the word dogs has not been used in this. Like, get some shepherd dogs out there. Um, okay, so let's see. The efforts that the CDFW made were tremendous and heroic, but it was too late, said Armik Weiss, senior wolf advocate for the Center for Biological Diversity. Okay, there's another thing. It's not just the dogs. I think the thing is also getting more deer into the region. The question is, at least at the moment, it's not hitting me, what specific mule deer populations throughout the western United States have enough and also enough genetic variety where they can obtain some of those individuals and then relocate them to here. The problem is it would be a tricky operation because you're sending individuals from one high elevation to another, and in many instances, depending on, let's say it's a lower elevation, they can potentially die when relocating to this higher elevation. If it's a much lower elevation compared to where they were from, then the mule deer would most likely adapt a bit better. But um, that's one of my solutions, at least to stop this from occurring. So let's see. She said that cattle ranchers in the area should have been taking proactive prevention measures for years, including increased human presence around the cattle, keeping the livestock bunched up instead of letting them loose on large grazing pastures. Wait a second. Um, okay, if you bunch up the livestock, depending on the period of time, technically it doesn't take that long. You could have it where they're getting worms from the grass that they're feeding on because the dung is so in close proximity to each other that, yeah, I'd rather just keep them out on the grazing pastures. Who's this person? Is this Armuk? Ah, okay. Keeping the livestock. Okay, let's see. And calving at the same time of year that deer and elk are birthing, so wolves have a source of wild prey. Has this person worked the cows before? This is a lot of work. Okay, you need to get somebody else. Ranchers in California have been on notice that wolves were coming in since late December 2011 when we got our first wolf. Wow. Okay, yep, true. That seems about the time they finally came back. They have been on notice they would establish packs since 2015, when the first pack was confirmed in Siskiyou County. So coexisting with wolves. Gray wolves were eradicated in California early in the last century because of their perceived threat to livestock. Okay, I'm just going to skip this. Yeah, they've always been kind of a problem, but there are several ways without putting strain on your own lives, more strain on your livestock, um, to deal with this. But yeah, big problem is lack of their natural deer that I'm assuming. It was a horrible summer here for everybody, and the emotional strain was probably worse than the financial strain for most people. What? Okay, if they're relying specifically on the livestock, I would think the financial strain is the hard part.
Floppy Rabbit said, the wolves just want a little snack.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, they're having to stick to, you know, ribeyes instead of their good old venison steak. So, I mean, they're not exactly unhappy, but let's see. They did the right thing. We couldn't go on living the way we were living, said Rick Robotai, a cattle rancher in Plumas County and president of the California Cattlemen's Association, who lost several animals. Economist Tina Satone. You know what's interesting is I've heard of these different meetings occur when it comes to ranchers. Let's say they're having problems in different states, or maybe over in different parts of Canada with grizzly bears or wolves or cougars, coyotes too. And I tend to notice that it's like the ever or whoever's the head or the president of, let's say, this cattlemen's association tends to have their own cattle get stolen. And it's interesting because you would expect these guys would have some of the best protection of their livestock. That's why you're the head of it, and they don't. I'm, I just find it extremely shocking. Economist Tina Satone and researcher Tracy Shore said in UC Davis Quarterly Agricultural Economics Update released Friday that the Bayam Sayo pack killed more livestock than the entire wolf population of Montana killed in 2024 and the killings of farm animals by the wolves in Wyoming in 2023. Whoa. I'm pretty sure that these wolves came from Oregon. So never mix up the people of Oregon with the wolves of Oregon. Two completely different animals, literally. It's not even a figure of speech. In Montana, the state's 1,100 wolves killed 54 domestic animals in 2024. And Wyoming's 352 wolves, I forget, they're really only concentrated in the western part. I don't think there's even any over in the Bighorn National Forest, but they're mostly concentrated in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem. And there might be certain wolf packs slightly further east of that region. Um, but that explains why there's much fewer. Killed 49 livestock in 2023. In California, about 70 gray wolves were responsible for 175 livestock kills between January and October of last year, with the Bayam Sayo pack responsible for half the killings. It does sound like the landowners don't have a lot of power when it comes to managing these wolves, but also these wolves sound incredibly smart. Like they're just getting around and they're taking everybody out. So that is quite interesting.
Apparently, they don't care about what PETA has to say.
Oh yeah, that too. Um, yeah. Let's see. Roberta said the attacks on livestock in Plumas and Sierra counties left many ranchers angry. He said he would like to see certain areas in the state declared special zones where people are allowed to hunt wolves that attack livestock. I mean, at this point, I would say what's interesting is that it hasn't mentioned that they attacked any people. It's almost like they know, okay, don't attack the primates, but just stick to specifically the ungulates or the cows. By the primates, I'm referring to people. Let's see. So we're pretty much in unison about thinking that it would help if we started taking out the ones that are just killing cattle and are too habituated to man or they're not afraid of us. Yeah. I'm glad after all this time you said that. The predators are a long way from recovery, Weiss said. adding that killing them is not a long term solution. Uh, Weiss, go away. We don't. This okay. It's just the same person that was stating further up that they should stick their cows in a small area. That's definitely not long term either. No, you shouldn't do that at all. So let's see. The scientific literature is a pretty conclusory that killing wolves to resolve conflicts with livestock is not a solution. It can actually be counterproductive. It can result in there being more conflicts with livestock. Uh, I would pretty sure if once they're being shot when they're taking out the cows, they're no longer going to stick to a specific area. Um, they might move. My problem would be, would that have an impact on maybe the genetics of the wolves? But leaving that out, no. At this point, there comes to a point where you shoot them, or you know. Okay, okay. So California has been having a bit of an issue. Very smart wolves in this region. Let's go to the next one. Okay, something coming up. Oh, okay. Let's see what's going on here with this raccoon individual. It looks like he's playing a flute, but I got a feeling that's not what's occurring. Oh,
That's not what it says either.
oh, wait. Okay, it looks like he's stuck in a dumpster. I'm guessing. Oh, he's trying to get out. Yeah, I would think so.
They are definitely not stupid animals.
No, he's just trying to um, get a good balance on this piece of wood. It is interesting. It's like, um,
He's not giving up.
yeah, you can tell he's a construction guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did that. That was quick too, and with minimal effort, almost like he's done this before. I kind of wonder if he's one of those rare raccoons that, um, what am I thinking of? He makes sure that there's a piece of wood in there so that he can get out, and maybe he has extremely good depth perception, and he thought, okay, I can take this risk. It's a calculated risk, like Nigel Marvin says, and he made it. So let's head over to the next article from discoverwildlife.com. With a population of 15 million, I'm not sure what this is referring to. This is the biggest mammal gathering on Earth, and it happens in Texas. Well, people are about twice that, so it's not us. Forget festivals and sporting events. I already did. The Bracken Cave Bat Colony is considered to be the largest gathering of mammals on Earth. Whoa. So somewhere in the hill country of Texas. Let's take a look. Ooh, that's a beautiful sight. Mainly due to what it described.
Why do I think a hobbit's living in there?
I think it's a little warm, but sure possible. Oh, maybe because it's not far from Austin or San Antonio. Anyway, according to Guinness World Records, the largest known colony of bats can be found at Bracken Cave near San Antonio in Texas. These are Mexican free-tailed bats, Tadarida brasiliensis, a small bat about the weight of a walnut, so called because its tail protrudes freely beyond the membranous patch of skin that stretches between its hind legs. In the summer, an estimated 15 million bats form a massive roost inside the cave, making it one of the largest gatherings of mammals on Earth. Okay, so the Mexican free-tailed bat also occurs in Houston, Texas too, or Harris County. Especially like the like certain areas in downtown that they will or collaborate. No, I'm saying that wrong. um they'll collaborate underneath different bridges. The problem was Hurricane Harvey took out a portion of the population. But that is where they will hang out, and then simply, like, especially at dusk, dawn, they'll go out and hunt for mosquitoes and a wide range of insects. So let's see. Yeah, I believe the population over in Harris County is somewhere around a few 100,000. It might be pushing a million, but obviously this area it's much more. Every evening, they spiral into the sky at dusk, creating their very own batnado. Okay, like Sharknado, but most likely you won't be eaten in this instance, as they head off to hunt insects. It's a spectacular sight that can be watched on live cameras at the Bat Conservation International website or in person via organized bookings. This is a maternity colony. Oh, I think this is one of those things where you can take a boat ride, and it's a bit of a. Uh, you're not truly following the bats. You see them leave the bridge area, but also this isn't close to this specific cave either. I'm talking like in the midst of downtown Austin, not so much San Antonio, and I'm not sure if this is specifically the Mexican free-tailed bat or it's another species of bat in the region. There are several species of bats within the state of Texas. Um, but you only follow them for maybe a few 100 feet at most, and that's pretty much it. You don't continue to follow them throughout the river, which is what I thought it was. So in March and April, pregnant females return to Bracken after overwintering in Mexico, Central, and South America. Over a 2-week period towards the end of June, each female gives birth to a single pup. The cave's population booms. The new mothers then park their pups on the cave wall in clusters called creches. With up to 4,000 pups per square meter, the hairless youngsters are densely packed. This helps them to stay warm when their mothers fly off to forage. Actually, it's quite intelligent of them, almost like the emperor penguin chicks down in Antarctica. So they huddle up against each other. And I think when it comes to, let's see, yeah, nutrition, I think they're fairly okay. In the past, it was assumed that when the mothers returned, they made no effort to identify their pup and instead nursed whatever youngster they found. Then research in the 80s and 90s showed this was not the case. Mothers can discriminate the scent of their own pup and make directed calls towards them. Each mom has their own unique call, which she makes as she searches for her youngster, and each pup has their own unique call, which they make in response. So this is very interesting considering this is almost like the emperor penguins too, except you have it where there are two specific parents. Though one will be away for a certain period of time, then will come back, be with them for a short period, and the other will leave. But I believe with bats, it's just specifically the mother.
I
Unless there's a species of bat where there's a monogamous couple too.
I always wonder if hominids at any point had the ability to distinguish between smells.
As in probably. Um,
Well, I meant for their babies.
oh, hmm. Yeah, that's a good question considering they can smell to an extent. Well, I don't know it entirely for sure, but quite similar. Like they give off that like Johnson's baby soap sort of dull odor is all that can occur to me. And hominids is referring to basically the large branch of people and their ancestors. So let's take a deeper look. The babies grow rapidly and start learning to fly at around 4 weeks of age. If everything goes well, a young bat drops into the darkness, flies at speeds of up to 6 meters per second, 20 feet, and turns an almost complete somersault to land back on the cave wall a few seconds later. I guess that makes sense. So collisions can be fatal, so each bat must dodge the many thousands of other nearby learners. Oh, I guess if they come into contact with each other and they fall into the water and they're not able to swim, or they hit a rock, especially in the hill country, very rocky. Whilst at the same time road testing in echolocation system they are yet to become familiar with. Unscheduled landings are certain death. As the cave floor, oh, it's talking about specifically the cave. Okay, yeah, definitely. That's nothing but a hard surface. Is teeming with millions of carnivorous beetles which can devour a young bat in seconds. Oh, well, small young bats are pretty small. I wonder what specific species of beetle it's referring to. Jeesh, gosh, that's like one of those movies where it's specifically, there's a plentiful, friendly sort of creature over on the roofs of the cliffs or the cave, and then on the bottom, it's just carnage. Fatalities are high, and only half of the new arrivals make it past their first birthday. I guess yeah, it's pretty shocking too, despite the high population. Then, no sooner have they found their wings than they spread them. Brazilian free-tailed bats are migratory, and whilst some do overwinter in Texas, most head south in search of warmer weather. Unless it's the same species. It mentioned the Mexican free-tailed bat earlier. I'll have to double check on that. The world's biggest bat colony shrinks until the cycle begins again the following year. Okay, so that was it. Oh, that's very interesting to see with these specific bats. I didn't realize it was that many within San Antonio or just outside of the city. So let's head over to the next article from Colorado State University. Let's see what's going on here. Something with the elephants over in the bush. I'm guessing that these are two males and they're just playing with each other. Not full grown yet. Their tusks are still, pretty. You can have it where a bull might have shorter tusks, but even the width of them is quite small. They also have sort of a babyish look, at least when it comes to their face. Two juvenile elephants greet each other in Samburu Nature National Reserve in Kenya. Researchers found that elephants have arbitrary vocal labels for each other, similar to human names. Whoa. Well, that's very interesting. Elephants have names for each other like people do, new study shows. Colorado State University scientists have called elephants by their names, and the elephants called back. Wild African elephants address each other with name-like calls, a rare ability among non-human animals, according to a new study published in Nature Ecology and Evolution. Well, this is quite something that we're seeing here. It just shows how vocal, at least these larger mammals can be. Specifically these proboscideans, which is a family of mammals in which also the mastodons and the mammoths, the gomphotheres belong to, back in the Ice Age of the Pleistocene and beforehand. So let's see. Researchers from Colorado State University, Save the Elephants, and Elephant Voices used machine learning to confirm that elephant calls contain a name like component identifying the intended recipient, a behavior they suspected based on observation. When the researchers played recorded calls, elephants responded affirmatively to calls that were addressed to them by calling back or approaching the speaker. Calls meant for other elephants received less of a reaction. Wait a second. Calls meant for other elephants received less of a reaction. So I guess if they were focusing specific on like specific elephants, but then they referred to another one, it meant that that specific individual didn't react as much. That's my guess. I guess that makes sense. Dolphins and parrots call one another by name by imitating the signature call of the addressee. Let's see. Lead author Michael Pardo, who conducted the study as an NSF postdoctoral researcher at Colorado State University and Save the Elephants, a research and conservation organization based in Kenya. Oh, I thought it was over in like Botswana. Okay. By contrast, our data suggests that elephants do not rely on imitation of the receiver's calls to address one another, which is more similar to the way in which human names work. The ability to learn to produce new sounds is uncommon among animals, but necessary for identifying individuals by name. Yeah, you should tell a bottlenose dolphin or an orca that. They're always trying out new sounds. Let's see. Or what, cockatoos, ravens too. Sheesh, those guys and crows. They're very smart.
I think they just each have their own dictionary. They keep adding to it.
Oh yeah, they have their own thesaurus. But yeah, ravens, they've been observed helping wolves hunt. Especially like sea wolves when it comes to looking where like specifically the salmon are, and the raven will call in specific areas. Possibly maybe somewhere else where there's young deer. Ravens could be helpful, but yeah, also like I think they're good robbers too. Anyway, very wise. Arbitrary communication where a sound represents an idea but does not imitate it. Greatly expands communication capability and is considered a next level cognitive skill. If all we could do is make noises that sounded like what we were talking about, it would vastly limit our ability to communicate. I think that was something that maybe hominids like Homo erectus or Denisovan Neanderthal probably did. That's my guess before like the vast range of languages around the world. Um, okay, so let's see. If all we already said that. Okay, so Whitmire said that the use of arbitrary vocal labels indicates that elephants may be capable of abstract thought. I wouldn't doubt it, considering they have some of the largest brains of any mammal. Same thing with like pigs, dogs, wolves, certain species of birds too. Cockatoos, parrots, they're very intelligent. I wouldn't call any species of bird dumb. Well, most I'd say, but
A
um,
dodo
yeah. Well, the problem with the
and
dodo.
Ice Age.
Okay, definitely them. Well, it's interesting when you're first introduced to them and what they're doing. It's like, whoa, what are these guys up to? And then as you get to know them within like a few seconds, you realize, oh, yeah, you kind of deserve it.
They're all idiots.
Yeah, I'm like, but it's like how? It's like almost like they're too specially coordinated or specialized in a theory. Anyway, when it comes to dodos in real life, it's almost like what happened and put the hunting aside or disease. I don't remember exactly what occurred. I also think it wasn't just one island. I think there was a series of islands where it occurred. Also, a bit off the coast of Madagascar was where the dodo was located. I think it was Portuguese or Spanish explorers. Anyway, what happened was, in my opinion, the dodo was just too much of a specialist in ecological terms, which means it was highly specialized and evolved for a certain environment, certain specific plant species. It was doesn't seem like it was a carnivore. It was feeding on, I think, different species of fruit, seeds. Almost never, like even when it came to insects, I don't think it was ever observed um, feeding on them, or like of what specimens that we have of the dodo, any evidence that it could have, which is interesting considering it has a somewhat pointed beak, but I guess it just doesn't fit the carnivore category. Um, but how did I get to that? Okay. I think you mentioned the dodo, and then I just was mentioning how it's just too much of a specialist. It also didn't have a very large range. Now you could say neither do like the with the erectus penguins that we were discussing before, just off the different islands south of New Zealand. But they're a bit more complex than the dodo. They could, well,
Well, what
it's
about Sid?
yeah, Sid, Megalonyx, him, a small Megalonyx. He's very adaptable, I will say. I'd give him a lot more um just respect compared to those dodos. I mean, those okay, here's the thing. The fact that we saw dodos on the mainland, non-island, that was quite shocking. Like, wow, okay, this is an adaptable population. How do they all of a sudden just fall off a cliff? It didn't make any sense. There was were very intelligent dodos. Okay. Let's see. Elephant and human evolution diverged tens of millions of years ago, but both species are socially complex and highly communicative. Elephants function within family units, social groups, and a larger clan structure similar to the complex social networks humans maintain. Similar needs likely drove the development of arbitrary vocal labeling, the naming of other individuals with abstract sounds in both species, the researchers proposed. Okay, let's see. It's probably a case where we have similar pressures, largely from complex social interactions. That's one of the exciting things about this study. It gives us some insight into possible drivers of why we evolved these abilities. Elephants are talkative, communicating with one another vocally in addition to sight, sense, and touch. Their calls convey a lot of information, including the caller's identity, age, sex, emotional state, and behavioral context. Vocalizations from trumpeting to low rumbling of their vocal cords span a broad frequency spectrum, including infrasonic sounds below the audible range of the human ear. Elephants can coordinate group movements over long distances using these calls. It's kind of like what's been theorized for different species of dinosaurs, especially the larger species, where they could send in low frequency sounds that could travel for if you're in an open area, not so much a forest. If you're in a forest, it's going to not travel as far because it's going to be simply bouncing off of the tree roots. So, um, it could, let's say, you're on the open plains, at least travel over 20 miles, maybe in some instances more. I'm also not sure how snow would affect it because this would have definitely happened with mammoths, mastodon herds as well. And another thing is that, yeah, simply when it comes to all the different types of noises that the elephants make. It is interesting when they come into contact with a new member of the herd that's been accepted, especially a calf, especially coming from one of those sanctuaries where every week they're coming in with, is it every week or a certain time of the month? Anyway, they're coming in with a handful of calves, and the elephants go over to this specific airfield and they wait for the cabs every single time the rangers are coming over to drop them off. Anyway, they just create a series of rumbles, small mini trumpets. I'm not
Wait, are you
exactly
saying
sure
they're
how to describe
adopting
it.
them?
Oh, yeah.
So they just show up for the adoption?
Yep. Yeah, they always show up on time too. Um, Another thing was, what was the other thing? I mentioned the low frequency sounds. They make mid frequency sounds too. I don't believe any high frequencies. Those certain small trumpets that they make certainly sound high frequency to an extent. Let's see. That's all that's hitting me at the moment. Oh yeah. Also, like let's say a certain elephant gets hurt, falls into the river. There's a wide range of different types of sounds that you're hearing from different individuals in the group. So let's see. Kurt Freistrup, a research scientist in Colorado State University's Walter Scott Jr. College of Engineering, developed a novel signal processing technique to detect subtle differences in call structure. And Freistrup and Pardo trained a machine learning model to correctly identify which elephant a call was addressed to based only on its acoustic features, so the type of specific sound that it's creating. Also frequency too. Our finding that elephants are not simply mimicking the sound associated with the individual they are calling was the most intriguing. The capacity to utilize arbitrary sonic labels for other individuals suggests that other kinds of labels or descriptors may exist in elephant calls. So they seem to be crossing a certain river here. It is quite interesting. You would think there would be a wide variety of trumpets, rumbling going on. There possibly is when it comes to maybe the rumbling, you're just not hearing it when they're crossing something like a river. But it also takes an extreme amount of energy to communicate when you're having to deal with, let's say, a fast flow of water, though they seem to be okay here. That calf also doesn't seem to be struggling. And, like, let's say what else is going
The
on
water looks like
subconsciously.
it's flowing here. Is it just them moving in it?
Well, that's what I wonder. I thought maybe it was a river. I mean, it still could be. It's just a slow flow, or they're at some part of a large or small lake. I'm not sure. I don't think like it's. I don't think it's part of a marsh or a wetland. So here they seem to be a bit calmer. Let's see. Oh well, as several families cross the Awaso Nigiro River. Not sure where this is. It might be a part of Kenya. A female elephant responds to her calf's distress call. Elephants use a wide range of vocalizations to coordinate group movements. Oh, I think right in the center, something might have occurred because there seems to be a female elephant that's turned around and is moving toward her calf. Everybody else seems to be moving forward. Well, okay, except these two. Guessing that's a younger female. He looks a bit too large to be a younger male, but
Wait, whoa. You just said, "I bet that's a younger female. He looks a little too large to be a male."
well, it's not necessarily she looks too large to be a male. I mean, to be a female. It's that male elephants, especially bush elephants, will leave their herd at around 13 to 14 years of age. So I would just think at this age or this size that the male would already have been pushed out. So see if there's anything else. At least when it comes to Asian elephants, they're pushed out of the herd. Males around 5 to 6 years of age. I don't know why they have such a shorter time span. So elephants are expressive animals, Whitmer wrote or said, and their reactions are easy to read by those familiar with them. When the researchers played back samples, the elephants responded energetically and positively to recordings of their friends and family members calling to them, but did not react enthusiastically or move toward calls directed to others, demonstrating that they recognized their names. How did the elephants react when they discovered they'd been prank called? Whoa. Okay, this is quite something.
They called 911 and said, "I'm being pranked."
Yeah, well, yeah, these elephants these days, but um, actually, this has occurred in the wild too, not just with bush elephants, but definitely with Asian elephants, where they will somewhat prank each other, or one will bully. I've seen it where a larger juvenile elephant will kind of bully another, and one of the females thought it was that specific one that got bullied and literally shoved it like it flew across like 20 or 30 feet. I say 20 feet easy or 6 meters. And I think it literally rolled over on its spine on the other side. And the whole herd, I think, somewhat gathered around it. It's like, whoa, what just occurred? And that other one got away with it. So, he was okay.
It's like a sibling that
Yeah.
beats on their sibling and then says, "They were hitting me."
Yeah, it was one of those instances where it's like, "You know what? In the future, if that other one gets poached, I'm not gonna care." Or, you know, I'm just saying. Okay, so how did the elephants okay, let's see. They were probably temporarily confused by the playback, but eventually just dismissed it as a strange event and went on with their lives. The study also found that elephants, like people, don't always address each other by name in conversation. Calling an individual by name was more common over long distances or when adults were talking to calves. Research spanned 4 years and included 14 months of intensive fieldwork in Kenya, following elephants in a vehicle and recording their vocalizations. About 470 distinct calls were captured from 101 unique callers, corresponding to 117 unique receivers in Samburu National Reserve and Amboseli National Park. Okay, so it looks like we're over in the elephant herds in southeastern Kenya. So they're facing, you don't see it in this instance, but Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, these all seem to be females and the younger calves.
I was wondering if they would have to use dead cats whenever they're out there.
Yeah, very interesting. Um, let's see. So the scientists said much more data is needed to isolate the names within the calls and determine whether elephants name other things they interact with, like food, water, and places. Unfortunately, we can't have them speak into microphones. New insights into elephant cognition and communication revealed by the study strengthen the
Whoa, whoa,
case.
whoa. They had a mic sitting there.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, there's a microphone. That's what it is. Okay, let's see. New insights into elephant cognition and communication revealed by the study strengthened the case for their conservation, the researchers said. Elephants are classified as endangered due to poaching for their ivory tusks and habitat loss from development. Because of their size, they need a lot of space and can be destructive to property and hazardous to people. While conversing with pachyderms remains a distant dream, Whitmire said that being able to communicate with them could be a game changer for their protection. It's tough to live with elephants.
Conversing?
Oh, say converting? Oh. Tough to live with elephants when you're trying to share a landscape and they're eating crops. I'd like to be able to warn them, do not come here. You're going to be killed if you come here. Why don't you put up those beehives unless they're just not doing as well and it's been over exaggerated? That tends to scare them off. It's expensive. I wouldn't think it'd be too expensive to make a beehive. I've got a feeling. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, but um, no, at least they're feeding. They're
Eh,
probably making a series of rumbles. Occasionally, when they're eating, you could hear a bit of a, kerfuffle sort of trumpet, the mini trumpets, and quite a handful of them too.
do
Uh,
they eat all day long?
Pretty much. Well, 18 to 20 hours a day.
Okay, that's
So
more than all day long.
they're probably taking in, depending on the individuals, like the females, at least 300 pounds of food, or over 140 kilograms.
Well, that has to be exhausting just pulling it out of the ground.
It depends. In the dry season, that will occur quite a bit. So they're going after different types of roots, but they will also be feeding on. You see all these palms here? It's very likely that they will be going after different species of fruits. So they'll push on the palms. It's quite a common sight in certain parts of South Africa or Botswana, possibly over in Kenya too, and obtain the fruit. Um, okay, what's going on here? Wow. Okay. Um, I think these cows are from Saskatchewan, Canada, and this goose is from Alberta.
I think they're just playing.
Yeah, true.
Doesn't look like they're trying to hurt him.
This could be, I mean, Canadian geese, they have a large range, like even the United States. So, um maybe these cows are from, trying to think. Where could they be from? Trying to think of a state. Maybe they're from Michigan and the goose is from Iowa. I don't know. I'm just trying to come up with it. Okay, so we will be back in 2 minutes. Alrighty. So, moving to the next article from the brighter side dot news. Fossilized dinosaur teeth reveal atmospheric CO2 levels from the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. Okay, let's see what's going on here. I believe today's current CO2 levels are somewhere around like 400 parts per million, which is much lower compared to many times in prehistory. Despite many people claiming that it's the highest ever. Not even close. Scientists use dinosaur teeth enamel to uncover ancient CO2 levels and plant growth, offering new insight into Earth's climate past. So, what do we have here? Camarasaurus teeth from Huey Ranch, Wyoming. Very nice. So, Camarasaurus is a species. Actually, could you look up Camarasaurus? So it's a species of sauropod from the late Jurassic period. So around 150 million years ago, this animal roamed Colorado, Wyoming, Utah. It could reach around 60 feet in length. They're pushing,
Wait, are you saying you want a picture?
yep, yeah, 60 feet in length. They're pushing somewhere around 18 to 19 meters and probably weigh somewhere around 20 tons. It was an interesting type of a sauropod. It was a distant relative of the brachiosaurs and much more distant from the diplodocids. Yet it had a bit more of a brachiosaur somewhat look to it. This one has more of a horizontal sort of neck structure. That's interesting. It also tends to be yeah, it's a bit closer, but this one has a This one looks like a bit of a psycho. So, which I mean, kind of sauropod. Someone had to be there. We go. That's the Camarasaurus I'm thinking of. Maybe a slightly longer neck, but um, some might confuse these animals somewhat with the Dicryosaur lineage of diplodocids. I might be also thinking of later species, but they didn't. The Dicryosaurs didn't occur until the beginning of the Cretaceous period, so around 140 million years ago. This is taking place during the late Jurassic, so around 150 million years ago. And these animals are probably having to feed on at least, probably, um, I'd say at least 1,100 pounds of food or pushing over 500 kilograms of vegetation each day just to survive.
Wait a
Even
minute,
that
how large
sounds.
are they?
Let's see. So 60 feet in length or 18 meters and pushing around 20 tons.
And they only need to eat what? Wait, how much did the elephant need?
The elephant could feed on like around 300 pounds of food.
Oh, okay.
I was just saying at least, 1,100, 1,200 pounds or 500, 600 kilograms. And they're feeding on different species of conifers at the time, maybe different species of monkey puzzle trees. This is before different species of fruits and flowers would have evolved. So they never tasted something, uh, likely didn't taste anything too sweet. They probably munched on bark occasionally or wood. And they did have a bit of a different dental structure from their diplodocid or brachiosaur cousins. I'd
Is this
say,
the one you said looked crazy?
yeah, yeah, him. Yeah, many. Oh, whoa, there's another problem. This illustration puts the nostrils at the top of the head. Here's the interesting thing. The ear is okay. It's at the quadral location. That's the quadral is that part of the skull that contains the earlobe. I know my ears here. I was just referring to the sauropod. So the nostrils, this is a much older representation from like the early 1900s. And then for some reason, Jurassic Park decided to stick it on there too, which at the time we already knew that the nostrils go at the very front. But anyway, let's see. Also, this Camarasaurus, he seems a bit skinny. He's got almost like a brachiosaur sort of front legs. And then his back legs are also a bit thin too. They're quite
And his
stocky.
toes?
His toes, he should really only have that distinct thumb, claw sticking out towards the inner part of himself, and then his back leg should really only have the thumb toe, um, then the index toe and the middle toe that are clawed, and also the thumb toe being larger than 2. The other 2 should be blunt. Actually, I don't think you should even see those distinct toes. Let's see. His tail, there's something about it where it's a bit too much like a not sure, a brachiosaur or a later species, maybe a brachiosaur, like a sauroposeidon. This one's a bit better. Um, he definitely had the ability to lower his neck. He had to get water at certain points. This is a good question. I really wonder how much water they would be able to take in. I mean, thirsty elephant today can take in somewhere between 50 to 60 gallons of water, at least during the day, but probably not in one sitting. I'm not sure how to convert that at the moment to liters. So, but this one is also very good. I'm not sure if there's any evidence for osteoderms occurring along the back of the Camarasaurus's spine, but it is definitely possible. There's definitely evidence for it. It looks like in different species of Diplodocid. It's also showing along the side too. There is evidence on certain species of dinosaurs that they would have had this type of osteoderm look, especially the Dicryosaurs towards the late Cretaceous, like Saltosaurus, were quite armored. And there were even certain species of sauropod that had like an ankylosaur sort of club-like ending, and some like even somewhat spiked, like thagomizers or the spiked tail of a stegosaur was like these little spikes sticking off to the side of the club tail of the sauropod. Anyway, let's head over to that specific article. Also, yeah, he has much nicer toes. So he had to be wary of different species of carnivores like the Allosaurus in the region.
Wait, so is this real what we're looking at?
Probably. It's just a very intact specimen. I mean, it's great. So let's see. Okay, so a team of scientists from the universities of Göttingen, Mainz, and Bochum has shown that tooth enamel, one of the most durable materials in the body, can hold chemical fingerprints that reveal what the atmosphere was like when these giants roamed the planet. Instead of relying only on a marine sediments of ancient soils to piece together past climates, researchers are now using oxygen isotopes preserved in dinosaur teeth. This new approach provides a rare glimpse into atmospheric carbon dioxide and global plant growth during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. So this is really good to see. Um, yeah, I was figuring they were going to look at different chemical isotopes from the region, and especially like the fossil formation. Well, um, especially on the different fossils themselves of the different sauropods or maybe the carnivores in the region. So let's take a look into what they found, especially since I believe we've seen it in different species of mammals from the Pleistocene or the Ice Age, but that was less than 2 million years ago. The study focuses on the isotope anomaly of oxygen known as triangle apostrophe 170. I have yet to know what that specifically means. When animals inhale oxygen, its isotopes, atoms of oxygen with slightly different weights, enter the body. These isotopes carry a distinct signature shaped by the balance between atmospheric carbon dioxide and the world's plant life. Every breath a dinosaur took left traces in its body water, which became sealed into tooth enamel as the teeth grew. Because enamel resists chemical change, it preserves these signals for millions of years. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I didn't know that. That helps a lot. Here seems to be the skull structure of some species of diplodocid, so related to Diplodocus. Skull with teeth of the sauropod Catidocus cyberi from the Hoey Ranch, Wyoming. Okay, so this is another late Jurassic diplodocid sauropod that I haven't heard of before, from Wyoming. The team analyzed enamel from teeth discovered across North America, Africa, and Europe. Fossils include massive sauropods like Giraffatitan, which is basically um, a close relative of Brachiosaurus. I believe also the skull of Giraffatitan has been discovered and not Brachiosaurus, even though Brachiosaurus was found before it. Um, so Giraffatitan existed over in Tanzania around 150 to 152 million years ago. This animal could reach over 80 feet in length. They're pushing 23 meters and probably weigh somewhere around 35 to 50 tons. So it was much larger compared to the Camarasaurus, much taller, probably reaching at least 40 feet in the air or 12 meters, and could probably rear up on its hind legs and reach even higher. So let's see. Camarasaurus, predators such as Tyrannosaurus rex and Albertosaurus. So Albertosaurus being a relative of the T Rex, predating it by about 10 to 11 million years. And plant eaters like Edmontosaurus. Enamel and dentine, the softer tissue beneath it, were compared. By the way, Edmontosaurus species of hadrosaur that there are a wide range of different species of Edmontosaurus. One species did coexist with Albertosaurus and another did with T Rex. So probably in Montosaurus regalis was with Albertosaurus, and Montosaurus annectens was with T Rex. Originally as a Nanotitan, that's what it was called, but now it seems to be a Montosaurus annectens. Let's see. Enamel and dentine, the softer tissue beneath it, were compared, but only enamel reliably preserved the original signal. Any sample showing later chemical alteration was carefully filtered out. Reconstructing ancient carbon dioxide, the measurements revealed strikingly high carbon dioxide levels compared with today. Around 150 million years ago in the late Jurassic, the air held about 1,200 parts per million of CO2, 3 times higher than pre industrial levels. Whoa. So interesting. You had much larger animals on the landscape, yet you had much lower, let me phrase that, much higher levels of carbon. You would expect the complete opposite. Carbon today only consists of 0.04% of the atmosphere, while oxygen consists of 21%. Let's see. So, 3 times. Okay. So, by the late Cretaceous, so about 70 million years ago, this is slightly before T Rex. So, this is also after Albertosaurus. Yet, certain monosaur species could be stuck here. Average levels had dropped to around 750 parts per million,
I
still
like how you
roughly.
said they could be stuck here.
Um, yeah, as a tyrannosaur you could stick about 70 million years ago would probably be Tarbosaurus, which was probably weighing some around 6 tons. It could get larger, and reaching a length about 35 feet or 11 meters. So, still roughly double pre-industrial levels. So it was still 750 parts per million, and we still had 30 to 50-ton sauropods roaming the landscape. Interesting. These findings line up with results from older methods, boosting confidence in this fresh technique. I wonder if this was due to also volcanoes possibly being much more active at this point, especially during the late Cretaceous. You had a lot of volcanic activity occurring in Western North America, just as the Rocky Mountains were starting to form. At this point, they were nothing but a series of hills. So, some teeth, however, recorded much higher concentrations. A T Rex tooth suggested nearly 18 parts per million. 1,800 parts. Whoa. That was more than the Jurassic. I guess that was probably due to this specific volcanic event, which became a bit more intense right when T Rex appeared around 68 to 67 million years ago. While one Jurassic sauropod, so something like a Giraffe titan or a Camarasaurus, sampled pointed to an extreme 3,000 parts per million. What on earth? There must have been a massive volcanic event occurring there. Now, you also have to think of those geothermal events occurring in the ocean, which many people tend to forget about. That could have created some sort of a spike that might have also caused certain extinctions at the time. Let's see. These spikes may represent short bursts of volcanic activity, such as the massive eruptions of the Deccan Traps in India, which scientists already linked to dramatic climate changes near the end of the Cretaceous. So, yeah, India, you were also seeing different species of sauropods in the region, different species of carnosaurs like the abelisaurs that used to inhabit there. Let's see. So, methodological strengths and limitations. In the enamel isotope method carries uncertainties. The main challenge is not knowing the exact productivity of Jurassic and Cretaceous. I need.
I've never heard you do that.
Okay, let's travel back in time. Cretaceous ecosystems. Because the 170 responds to both CO2 and productivity, researchers must either assume modern productivity levels to calculate CO2 or use independent CO2 estimates to back calculate productivity. Either way, the results are constrained by this dual relationship. Another uncertainty comes from physiological variation among dinosaurs. Differences in water intake, metabolism, or environment could shift the isotope values. Yeah, wow, there's a lot of variables that you have to take into account when it comes to measuring these different chemical isotopes and why they would have occurred. Tooth of a Europasaurus, a dinosaur similar to Diplodocus. Yeah, it's still hitting me, this specific sauropod. I was thinking maybe it was a sauropodomorph. But seeing limestone found in the Langenberg quarry in the Harz Mountains, which was also analyzed in the study. It's a very nice tooth. I think it's a tooth. Yeah, it's a long tooth too. So it's an herbivore. To address these concerns, the researchers compared enamel data against modern animals and cross checked results with their proxies. They also excluded altered samples and performed sensitivity analyses. Overall, the enamel method produced estimates consistent with other lines of evidence, demonstrating its reliability as a new paleoclimate tool. So, um, um, too much humming. I was trying to see if there was anything else. The isotope method also allowed researchers to estimate how much carbon plants absorbed globally through photosynthesis, a measure known as gross primary productivity. The results showed that Earth's ecosystems during the Mesozoic were more productive than today. Well, I'm not sure how exactly, like how many specific species we have discovered, let's say of plants alone, from the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. And it's including all those little epochs in between. Uh, Depends also on the ecosystem. Now, granted, tends to be where certain tropical ecosystems might have more species. However, depending on where you are, even in somewhat temperate regions, and like different types of grasslands, like even the Great Plains. There's quite a variety of different species, consisting of plants or grasses and flowers. We're usually talking about conifers, ferns in this instance, if you're not including the Cretaceous. So let's see. In fact, plant growth in the late Jurassic may have been about 20% higher than modern levels, while the late Cretaceous could have been more than twice as productive. Jeez. Well, that's odd considering a certain Jurassic dinosaur showed that there were over 3,000 parts per million, whereas the Cretaceous one it mentioned was 1,500. Those aren't small, but that would explain how plants were much more productive. Much more of their specific um, air type was available compared to today. It's much less. That productivity helped feed ecosystems that supported massive plant eaters and the predators that hunted them. Dense forests and abundant vegetation matched the greenhouse climate conditions, where higher temperatures and more carbon dioxide created lush, thriving landscapes. This is probably why certain parts of the late Triassic period you had cooling events occur, and probably might have been a reduction in carbon we haven't seen so far a measurement for the late Triassic. So I'm talking about somewhere around 210 million years ago, but it does look like it was cooler towards the poles. And then you reach the different parts of the early Cretaceous, like even probably 130, 135 million years ago. And it looks like there was probably at least snowfall occurring, even different parts of Australia. And definitely when you hit the late Cretaceous about 75 million years ago over in Alaska, and you had pretty cold winters. Not to the extent of the Ice Age, but snow was definitely occurring and probably having a big impact on the migrations the different large herbivores took. Here's the T Rex skeleton at Murray Ranch, Montana. Sounds like a specific institute. Okay, so one challenge in this research is separating the global atmosphere from local environmental quirks. For example, the unusually high CO2 implied by one T. rex tooth may reflect water sources enriched by evaporation in a dry setting, rather than the air everywhere at the time.
Why does that sound like they're trying to come up with an excuse for it?
Yeah, there's something off. By contrast, now you were going to have a wide range of different wet and dry seasons during the Mesozoic. Uh, let's see what it says. By contrast, the Jurassic sauropod Catodocus cyberi. Interesting. They're using a wide variety of different diplodocids or sauropods that are rarely, if ever, get a mention. So it's good to see, but definitely makes me wonder how many fossils of these specific specimens they have. Let's see. Though a lot of these also seem to be just teeth which showed no such water related anomalies, may have captured a genuine atmospheric surge caused by volcanic activity. Despite such complications, the broader picture holds Mesozoic Earth was a greenhouse world with fluctuating CO2 levels, sometimes pushed higher by sudden events. The method appears sensitive enough to record short lived spikes that lasted thousands of years, offering a finer scale view than many older proxies. Yeah, that is also takes something into account, but why were they occurring for thousands of years is a big question. Until now, most reconstructions of ancient climates relied on indirect evidence from marine sediments or fossil soils, each with drawbacks. Tooth enamel provides a new terrestrial record, one that comes directly from land dwelling animals. This allows scientists to cross check other methods and build a more complete picture of Earth's past climate. Uh, okay. Even with the diagrams, that looks somewhat fun, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at the moment. So let's take another look. Lead author Dr. Dingsku Fang from the University of Dunktingen. I'm guessing
Sounds like
this.
a dish.
Oh yeah, it does. Like you're getting seared duck from some Chinese restaurant. But I was thinking of Dr. Wu from Jurassic Park. um, the Asian guy in the beginning, described the advance with enthusiasm. Our method gives us a completely new view of the Earth's past. It opens up the possibility of using fossilized tooth enamel to investigate the composition of the early Earth's atmosphere and the productivity of plants at that time. This is crucial for understanding the long term climate dynamics. He added, long ago, their teeth recorded the climate for a period of over 150 million years. Finally, we are getting the message. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That is quite something that we have revealed from the Mesozoic era, at least when it comes to the carbon levels. But I really do wonder what was occurring and how it occurred for a few thousand years. And that can have a pretty big impact on a wide range of different species, not just even the animals, but the plants, fungi, soils. Okay, so let's take a look. So here's a turtle. What's moving underneath? Oh, those are sea cows. Oh, they're manatees. I'm wondering if that's like a red-eared slider turtle that we're seeing.
And he just ran the opposite way.
Yeah, he was like, "Whoa, there's something." That freaked him out.
He's like, "I'm out of here."
And sea cows only feed on different species of seagrass. They're pretty sensitive to temperature, though. They need to stay in warmer areas. Though occasionally they're seen much further north, but that's only in very warm events. So here's a group of Camarasaurus, and yeah, are a bit off with the front toes. This almost seems to replicate the dry season, or they're off somewhere along the coast. Oh, okay, okay. So heading on to the next article. Okay, let's see what's going on here from India.mongabay.com. Assam's Dang Patkai plans extensive camera trap study of five small wildcats in the region. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. So probably referring to five different species. This isn't not a Bengal cat. Who is this? Maybe it's a golden cat. That could be what it is. So a very distinct species from the domestic cat.
I thought they were usually fat.
You're thinking of those captive fishing cats. So, well, he's pretty distinct. Who could he be? I'm not sure. So, Dehing National Park, located in Dibrugarh and Tinsukia districts of Assam.
Say that 3 times real fast.
Dibrugarh, Tinsukia. Okay, let's keep going. Is known for its exceptional diversity of flora and fauna. About 48 animals have been recorded here, including 8 species of wildcats, which forest officials deem the highest in the country. These include the tiger, leopard, clouded leopard. Oh, clouded leopard. Okay, I was thinking of snow leopard for a second. Like they don't coexist at least at the moment. Let's see, leopard cat, golden cat, jungle cat, marble cat, and fishing cat. Are we somewhere in southern India or maybe eastern India? I think we're in India. However, other than a study by biologist Kashmira Kakatai back in 2010, not much scientific research has been done on these cat species in the region. Now, the Forest Department is initiating a camera trap program to study the cat populations and formulate better conservation strategies. As part of the program, a total of 95 camera traps, cameras with infrared triggers to monitor animals, are being installed in the national park, which will provide data on species location, behavior, and interaction, as well as population. Hold on a second. So this is only occurring in Dahing Patkai National Park. I don't know where this specific protected area is, but apparently it consists of all these distinct carnivore species. This is quite astounding. I didn't know that this place existed, at least that contained all of them. Guessing it's somewhere quite lush. You tend to find animals like fishing cats, jungle cats, clouded leopards in somewhat, humid areas. Tigers you can find in quite a variety of different habitats. I mean, not long ago they were over in Central Asia. I'm talking like last couple of centuries. So let's see. Also known as the Amazon of the East, Dahing Patkai National Park harbors the longest stretch of tropical lowland forests in India. This has to be eastern India. It was first declared a wildlife sanctuary in 2004 and then upgraded to a national park in 2021, the sixth in Assam. from 114.19 square kilometers, or somewhere around like 54 square miles. The area was doubled to 234 square kilometers, or somewhere around, 100 and, let's see, 10 square miles. It is part of the larger Dang Patkai Elephant Reserve, 937 square kilometers, or a little over what, 450 square miles. So it's quite interesting. I had a feeling we're seeing all these cats. There could be elephants here, but I thought, well, maybe there aren't, but apparently there are. Usually, if it's called an elephant reserve, there are elephants. The national park is divided into three ranges: Serapung, Margarita, and Jaipur. While Serapung and Margarita, huh, come under the Digboy Wildlife Division, Jaipur comes under Daibragar Wildlife Division. Phew. Okay, a lot of Indian names there. Let's keep going. So, what do we have here? Not an ocelot. They're over in North and South America. It's specifically a leopard cat. So, it was captured on one of the camera traps. I'm surprised. Well, I guess 95 cameras can be okay. They might be installing them in certain areas where it looks like there's probably a game trail and more likely for animals to get caught on camera. But when I was hearing 95 cameras at first and all these different species of carnivores, I was thinking this seems like a low amount of cameras. And then it was referring to only a single protected area. Now you could also say, how large that protected area. There are some massive ones, especially over in nearby China. But I guess this might be okay. I don't know why, but 95 still seems kind of low. This forest boasts of perhaps the most diverse population of primates, mostly referring to monkeys. There aren't any orangutans anywhere near here. And wild cats in the country. Among primate species like slow loris, a Siamese macaque, stump-tailed macaque, pig-tailed macaque, rhesus macaque. There are around 20 different species of macaque, I believe. Capped langur, another monkey, and hulock gibbons, very arboreal monkeys, are found here.
How do we go from the cats to these guys?
Yeah, I don't think they'll stay here for long. Also, animals like elephants, binturong. Binturong, how do I explain this? It's a very unique species of mammal, somewhat of an omnivore. They both eat different species of insects, bird eggs, and they will feed on different species of fruit too.
How big are they?
I think they get to like 20 to 30 pounds, or a little over 12 kilograms. But, oh gosh, it's like a something took a lemur and mixed it with a red panda to an extent. The capped langur, another monkey, and hulock. I already said that. Flying squirrel. Oh, that's specific. There's different species of flying squirrel over in South Asia. Gangetic river dolphin, yellow-throated martin. Martin. Um, that's is that a monkey? Martin. Yellow-throated martin. Is that a bird? I'm not sure. Sandbar, that's a deer. Barking deer, also known as cheetah deer, the spotted ones. Sandbar tend to be a bit darker in coloration. There he is, the binturong. Yep, they're not too common, but they are very unique individuals. They're quite arboreal too. They like hanging out in the trees. So let's see. That's that one. Okay. So do wild pig. Yes, there are wild boar in India. That tigers tend to frequently hunt, depending on the region. Leopards will go after their piglets. Let's see, series. I don't know. Malayan giant squirrels, doles. So these are the African. These are basically the equivalent of the African painted dogs for the region, but they are very distinct, quite orange in color. Are found in this forest. Says Rahib Rudra Tiriang, head of the zoology department at Digboy College, located 20 kilometers or 10 miles from the national park.
Yeah, I'm not reading this. Did it literally say Dig Boy College?
The Daigabo.
Okay.
I don't know. It's what it looks like. Between 2007 and 2009, renowned wildlife biologist Kashmira Ketkai set out to study the wild cats found in Dang Patkai. She and her team set up camera traps in the Jaipur Dehing lowland evergreen forest and recorded a total of 7 species. This was considered the highest diversity of cats found in a single region in the country. Yeah, this is unheard of. More than a decade after Kakatai's study, the Forest Department has now launched a program to study the population of the small cats found in the forest. Rahin Ram, Divisional Forest Officer, Digboy Wildlife Division of or Dig Bow, maybe that's what it is. Wildlife Division of Dang Patkai National Park says since then, Katkai's study, a lot has changed in the forest. The area has increased. We thought this is the right time to study the population of lesser cats. In my area last year, we set up 35 cameras. Apart from the increase in area, according to Ram, during this period, the status of the forest has changed. The roads and wireless connectivity in the forest has improved, and also the staff in Dang Patkai has increased. The Forest Department study will include marbled cats, golden cats, jungle cats, leopard cats, and the elusive fishing cats. Clouded leopard, leopard cat, golden cat are found on trees and deep tropical rainforests, while marbled cats, jungle cats, and fishing cats are found near wetlands and water bodies.
Yeah, and the fishing cats are found laying on their back, rubbing their tummies full.
Yeah, those guys seem to always be supplemented with tuna or something. Maybe sardines. As per IUCN Red List, okay, that's whoa. Jungle cat is considered least concern. I didn't think any species of wild cat in Asia was considered as least concern besides domestic feral cat. But besides that, that should be. mm, I just don't agree with that. And I don't even know their population. Over the last 3 months, the department has been setting up camera traps. This will be a year-long project where we will cover the entire area for a science survey. Right now, we have set up 60 cameras on a rotation basis. Okay, said BV Sandeep DFO, Dibrugarh Division of Dang Patkai, who's in charge of the program. Sign surveys, a method to collect data on wild animals by studying signs such as pug marks, scat, and scratch marks. Yep, Eastern India. There it is. Right on the corner. What happened? Oh, oh, there it is. Weird. Oh, oh, that is confusing. Okay. Okay, so smaller wildcats in the region are essential to keep the ecosystems in balance, says wildlife biologist Jimmy Bora, who works with the NGO Aranyak. Wildcat conservation, the Dang Pakai landscape, is of paramount importance for both conservation of these magnificent feline species and the ecological balance of this unique region. These feline predators not only help control prey populations, but also have a excuse me, cascading effect on the entire ecosystem. By conserving them, we can also protect the vast array of plant and animal species that depend on a balanced ecosystem. However, along with all other species in the forest, the wildcats face several threats, primarily mining for oil and coal extraction, which are found in the entire belt of Dang Patkai. Well, that was unexpected. Okay, so there seems to be a golden cat. That's good to see. How many of these guys? Maybe like 8,000 of them in all of South Asia. So it's good to see. Oh, that's over in Thailand. Well, that's not adjacent to India. What's it doing here? Maybe they just haven't caught any, so pictures. So I decided to put up one of from Thailand. So while mining doesn't take place inside the national park, it does in the larger Dang Patkai Elephant Reserve. That is interesting how in these different protected areas in many of these countries, there's like mining occurring. Though you could say probably in different parts of the United States, especially in national forests, certain wildlife management areas, there's illegal logging, but it's not mining. But I don't think certain squirrels would care. Or there are oil collection stations, whoa, inside the forest and a storehouse for explosives called a Boom Gudam. It's funny. Says an environmentalist from the area on conditions of anonymity.
Wait, what's that, that movie where the animals attack the people? They attack the hunters?
Open season?
Was that open season where they all did that and they all collected and threw acorns?
Or yeah, yeah, it was open season with those
Well, if they got
squirrels.
a hold of this stuff, people might be in trouble.
Yeah, they would definitely win. Okay, let's see. He adds that sometimes crude oil seeps into the Digboy Nula that passes through the park, which can lead to accidents in case of a forest fire or other ignition sources. Just a few years ago, we had a terrible accident in Bagan. If something like this happens in Dang Patkai, the impact will be much greater. It's just there. They're not doing anything about it. That's funny. The authorities, I mean, it's sad, but you know, it's funny too. The authorities, however, deny any disturbances inside the national park. No oil extraction is allowed within 10 kilometers radius of the national park. However, for 5 miles, um, that's funny. Yeah, I can just imagine all the flying squirrels throwing nuts at them, or well, throwing the explosives too. I think they also use ducks. Anyway, however, there are a few oil drilling locations and oil wells in the reserve forest area.
Wait,
Well,
did you say they throw ducks?
well, the ducks were throwing propane, I think,
Oh, I thought you were
and
saying that the squirrels were throwing ducks.
yeah, certain explosives. I remember, yeah, he threw the propane. The squirrel's like, "Oh, Mister Happy didn't go off," and then I forgot what they threw, but finally it landed on a jeep, and well, that caused problems. So let's see. Um, What was occurring here? Oh, yeah, it's just funny. So there's oil drilling and oil wells in the reserve. That's funny. Historically, mining has taken place in the Dang Pakai forest for many years. Now the question is, was it already there and then they just decided to make it a protected area, or did all of a sudden it just occur? Um anyway, timber logging and illegal hunting are other threats to wildcats in the region, and protection has been increased to prevent them. That's interesting. I mean, it's not surprising, but it's just you tend to hear India as being kind of a somewhat safe haven, especially for predators, which is why animals like cheetahs are being reintroduced to India. And here you're having illegal hunting, so that's interesting. Maybe they're going after deer in the region, but they're mentioning that the cats are being taken out. Sounds like we've got 40 to 50 new staff, and all of them are now armed with self-loading rifles, which was not the case before. Huh,
Wait. How do you get a rifle that loads itself?
I don't know. I was confused by that. Um, Yeah, it doesn't even mention a certain type of firearm, but anyway, we are working to improve wireless and mobile connectivity because some camps are at least 10 kilometers away from the nearest human settlement. Hunting and logging have definitely gone down because of these measures. Presence of big cats, though not much is officially known about the populations of these small cats. Villages near the park report sightings often. My village, Sarapung, is just on the fringes of the park. During the night, we sometimes see fishing cats, marbled cats, and golden cats. They come to the village looking for hens and ducks. Clouded leopards don't really come into the village. They are found in the interiors of the forest. Yeah, clouded leopards are quite shy. They're still going after smaller monkeys or different species of birds in the region. Maybe smaller muntjac deer. I guess it's not too surprising with the fishing cats, marble cats, and golden cats. Oh, yeah, they're coming in for, fowl or bird. Okay. Though the region is considered as a tiger-bearing habitat, no sightings have been reported in a long time. The presence of tigers was detected in Dang Patkai during Katkai's research. However, now there are no regular sightings. Wonder what happened. I was wondering, they're not mentioning tigers, yet it showed a thing about, like, tiger distribution. It didn't seem to be too specific on it, but that's, quite something. Sometimes during winters or the dry season in this instance. So probably somewhere between late April and early October. Security working at Hurahan oil field inside of the inside the reserve forest have reported encountering tigers at night, but this is not concrete evidence, says a forest guard who has served in this forest for more than 3 decades or 30 years. So here is a leopard caught on a camera trap in the Dang Patkai National Park. Well, it seems to be a healthy individual. It's good to see his presence. Yeah, it's a he. Okay. Leopards are more commonplace, with sightings reported in many fringe villages of Dang Patkai like Dilupung, Thikilahan, Sapatoli, Badura, Nagar, and Bubari, and others. They kill goats and pigs sometimes. They are also found in the nearby tea gardens. They are not known to attack humans. What? These are some friendly leopards. Usually, when you hear about leopards in India, they are attacking people. And they know their way around the urban areas. Okay. That was quite interesting. Woo. Okay. It's quite interesting with those tigers, though. They're quite a mystery in this instance. Oh, I guess a few seconds, something else will pop up. Whoa, what's going on here? Seems to be crossing something. Where's this occurring? This could be Asia, Australia. He's crossing some dam. He just wanted some deeper water.
Did the guy just jump off the bike and hop in a tree?
Seems that way.
Oh, now I'm comfortable.
I think that's a saltwater crocodile. I don't know. There's something about it almost. It has like a Nile crocodile sort of a look. It's a bit hard to tell. Nile crocodiles also tend to be a bit slimmer. Okay, so alrighty. From HudsonValleyCountry.com. Let's see what's going on here. So, Millbrook residents surprised by moose wandering town. I can't tell how old this specific individual is. Something about it seems to be an older moose individual. So maybe he's, yeah, it said wondering, right? Wondering. Oh, just by the structure of his antlers, they seem quite small, but not even like a youngster sort of way. Like almost like he's just quite up there in age. I could be wrong. Bit of a scruffy bell. Let's see where this is occurring. They're back. Looks like we have our first moose sighting of the season here in the Hudson Valley. Moose sighting season begins in New York. So we're up in New York State. It's that time of year when Hudson Valley residents occasionally get surprised by a sighting of a moose in their town. While moose aren't uncommon in New York, they usually don't wander this far down. Moose generally are seen in the northeastern part of the state in the Adirondack Mountains and Taconic Highlands along the Massachusetts and Vermont borders. Okay, well, you're talking about over in somewhat northeastern New York State, which there are moose over in Massachusetts and Vermont, but moose are also seen over in north central Vermont, over in that specific area, very dense protected forest. And there's only somewhere around 400 to 500 moose in New York State. So it's not a very large population. So let's see. The DECE explains September through October is breeding season. Yeah, that's true. Several Dutchess County residents have shared photos of a moose wandering around in their town. Oh, there's more of him. That's good to see. The folks in and around Millbrook, New York, have been sharing photos of a moose making its way around town. Michael Link shared a few photos with us of a moose, he said, on his commute to work. Maybe he is a younger individual. In these pictures, he seems a bit healthier. So that's good to see. Um, and I think he's trying to find a bit of food and as well mates. He seems a little confused, but at the same time, just taking just being relaxed.
Don't moose always look confused?
Yeah, they do. I guess the breeding season, they look even more confused because the male's tilting his head, but that's just his way of making himself look bigger and intimidating to other moose males and attracting the females too. But he's also probably making certain, not necessarily rubs them as well, but those specific scenting areas where he'll urinate in an area of mud and just cover himself in those hormones.
I try not to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's wait. Um okay, good. Yeah, it's good. Link told us that he first saw the moose on Monday, September 15th. Around 7:30 a.m. at a horse farm on Salt Point Turnpike. He added, initially, I thought they had a loose horse. Then I was like, wait a minute. The moose had drivers pulling over to take photos. If you've seen the moose around town, email us at jess@hudsonvalleycountry.com. So, New York warns of moose on roads. The New York State Department of Transportation shared a photo this week of a moose hanging out on the Anduridock Railroad in Hamilton County. With that, the DOT wanted to remind drivers to stay alert, slow down, and expect the unexpected. Wildlife doesn't follow the rules of the road. Also, never approach, touch, or feed wild animals. Um, I think certain duck, geese populations, and even deer over in Japan and England would like a word. They always follow the pedestrian side crosswalks. Um, I think certain elephant population over in Kenya, but maybe that's just part of the year. For the last year or so, we've been getting more and more moose sightings in and around the Hudson Valley. We've mapped out a few of the most recent sightings in our neighborhoods. So here seems to be one on a trail camera. I don't think that's the same individual. He seems to have larger antlers. Um, but over in New York and probably the breeding season too, there seems to be a lot of younger bulls around the block. Not very big antlers at this point, so he's probably what, 3 to 4 years old. So the 2023 moose sightings all started back on September 18th of 2023. Tyler Oles shared a screenshot from his trail cam of a rather large moose walking around Clinton Corners. The moose then traveled 13 miles, according to Oles, to its next Hudson Valley town. Hmm. He's barely got a bell. So that area of fur underneath his throat. This one, I mean, it's just a bit of scruff. Interesting. Sure.
Yeah, but it looks like he's cheerful.
Yeah, he does seem to be just trotting. Julia Truitt was getting ready for the day on September 20th, 2023. When she thought a horse was crossing her front lawn, she looked out her bedroom window and saw this massive moose bright and early at 8 a.m. Quite the sight to wake up to. Yes, it is. Over in Hyde Park, New York. Let's see. Oh, there's another picture. Might be the same individual. Hopewell Junction, New York. So in the East Fishkill Community Group at around 6:50 p.m. Definitely, if you're a fish, you're going to have an issue. On October 1st, 2023, Nelson Fernandez shared a video of a moose quickly walking near Old State Road in Hopewell. Hey, there's another one. Wow, there's a lot of young bulls here.
That guy needs to eat.
Yeah, unless they're the same individual. His fur seems okay. I kind of wonder if he just came from the water, but I can't tell, at least by the lighting. Yeah, so much trail camera. So this is towards the second half of the breeding season. Might have been rolling around his own urine. So Poughkeepsie, New York. So let's see. James R. Gibbon shares these photos with us of a moose strutting its stuff on trail cam in the town of Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie. Was it the same moose spotted 2 weeks before in Hyde Park? Yeah, probably. Looks exactly like the same one. Um, yeah, seems to be just taking his time. He's pretty healthy too. If you look at his overall physique, he's doing pretty well. Oakwood Friends School, Poughkeepsie, New York. Shortly after James saw the moose on his trail cam, Julia Blair shared the photo above with us. What we are assuming is same moose trotting around the grounds of Oakwood's Friends School in Poughkeepsie. Julia writes to us on October 2nd at 4:30 p.m. As I was leaving Oakwood Friends School where I work, I spotted this moose walking right towards me on Friends Lane, and then he went onto our school campus. I was at first shocked and then amazed. I alerted the main office and we contacted the NYSDEC, and they said that they were following this young adult male moose over the last 2 weeks. So he seems to be moving quite a bit in the Hudson Valley. There is another picture. That's a very nice one. There's a little bit of a bell. Danbury, Connecticut, October 2022. Oh, yeah, they're over in Connecticut too. A bit of a smaller population, probably coming in from Massachusetts. Towards the end of September, early October of 2022, a moose was spotted all over Connecticut. Daryl Pittman shared this crazy encounter with our friends at I 95, who report that the moose was also seen running around the Danbury Mall parking lot.
Wait, did it just say the exact same moose was seen all over Connecticut?
No, I don't think so. No, it's no, this is also the year before. It's 2022. Not the other one was 2023.
It says early October 2022, a moose was spotted all over Connecticut.
It's Hudson Valley adjacent to Connecticut.
That's not my point. Is it saying the same moose was spotted everywhere, or is moose what's plural for moose?
You just use moose for one moose or several moose.
Okay, so it's saying many
Um,
moose.
yeah, I think yeah, specific moose was not that same one over in New York. It was another individual. Interesting. So this was just on somebody's house camera. Moose was walking by. So let's see. Um, East Fishkill, New York. So October 3rd, 2023. Last year in October, we received reports that a moose was on the loose in Dutchess County. There were several sightings in the East Fishkill and Hopewell Junction areas. Oh, I think that's a female. Over, yeah, just over in the woods. I don't know what's going on here with her fur. Socrates, New York, May 2021. This sighting from Socrates in 2021 was a bit unusual as it was in May. The smaller moose was spotted in Ulster County on Old Kings Highway and Socrates at around 8 p.m. Uh, what what happened? I think that was all the moose. Okay, well, let's head over to. Oh, well, another video coming up. Let's see what's going on here. I don't know what
What just
occurred.
happened?
I don't know. He just seems to have heard something, and then everybody just
I
some of
think
them
she
followed him.
freaked him out of his sleep.
Did
Wait,
somebody
watch. Yeah,
touch
look
him?
at her.
Oh, possibly. I think that's one of his cubs, like female cubs. I don't know. That was funny. That's a healthy pride, though. Okay. Thanks for joining. And from prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you love talking about animals, and share this show with everyone you know because nothing is better than all animals all the time.